So here's something that happens to almost everyone. You open ChatGPT, you type a question, and the answer you get back is not great. It's generic. It could apply to anyone. And you're sitting there thinking, this is not what I asked for. The reason this happens is actually very simple. And once you understand it, you can fix it every time. That's what we're covering today. Now, the first thing to understand is that AI doesn't work like a search engine. It's not looking something up in a database. What it actually does is predict the next word. That's it. One word at a time, based on probability. Think of it like autocomplete on your phone, but dramatically more powerful. And this is the key insight, because it's predicting. The quality of the output depends entirely on how well you guide that prediction. Your prompt is the steering wheel. So let's look at what happens when you write something vague, something like, tell me about AI tools. The model has no idea what you actually want, so it goes everywhere. Programming tools, design tools, business automation, image generators. There are roughly 1,000 different directions it could take, and because it doesn't know which one you care about, it tries to cover a little of everything. That's how you end up with those surface-level answers that don't actually help anyone. Now here's the core idea. Prompting is fundamentally about reducing possibilities. Every piece of information you add to your prompt narrows down the space of likely responses. Think of it as a funnel. On one end, you have 1,000 scattered directions. On the other end, you have a tight, focused answer. Your job is to add constraints that push the model from vague to precise. That's the whole game. So let me give you the framework. There are 6 steps: persona, context, task, audience, constraints, format. Each one works like a filter. It removes noise and narrows what the model gives you. We're going to walk through all 6, and I'll show you how each step tightens that funnel. By the end, you'll have a reusable structure you can apply to basically any task. Step 1 is persona. This means telling the AI what role to play. When you write act as an AI consultant, or you are a senior data analyst, you're activating a specific subset of its training data. The model was trained on text from experts in every field: doctors, engineers, marketers, lawyers. By assigning a persona, you're telling it which expertise to draw from. And just like that, irrelevant content gets filtered out, the tone shifts, the depth changes. Now let's look at what this does to the numbers. We started with about 1,000 possible directions. By adding one line, you are an AI consultant helping startups, the model filters out medical content, legal content, poetry, and dozens of other domains. We're down to roughly 500 directions, one sentence, and we've already eliminated half the noise. That's a significant reduction from a single constraint. Step 2 is context. This is where you explain the why. Why are you asking? What's the situation? In our example, we say, I create educational content for founders learning AI. Now the model knows this should be beginner-friendly, educational in tone, practical, and example-driven. Without context, the AI has to guess your situation, and it usually guesses wrong. Context prevents bad assumptions. We're down to about 250 directions. Step 3 is the task. This is your core instruction. What do you actually want the model to do? And this is where most people are too vague. Don't write, help me with AI tools. Instead, write something like, explain 3 AI tools startups can use to automate customer support. Now the model knows exactly what to produce. AI tools specifically for customer support, specifically 3 examples. Not a general overview, not 10 tools. 3. We're down to about 120 directions. Step 4 is audience. This is the one most people skip. You need to tell the AI who this answer is for. A response written for a PhD researcher looks completely different from one written for a non-technical founder, even when the topic is identical. By specifying non-technical founders, the model drops the jargon, uses analogies, and focuses on outcomes instead of architecture. We're down to about 60 directions. Step 5 is constraints. Think of these as guardrails. In our example, we say maximum 40 words per tool. Avoid overly technical language. Now the model has to keep it concise. It has to filter out jargon. It has to stay within that word limit. Constraints work like a fence. Inside the fence, short, focused output. Outside, all the verbose, rambling content you don't want. We're down to about 30 directions. And step 6 is format. This is the last piece. You tell the model exactly how to structure its response. In our example, tool name, what it does, example use case. Now the output has to follow that exact sequence. No guessing about presentation. The format locks in the final constraint. And we're down to about 15 highly relevant responses. From 1,000 to 15. That's what structured prompting does. Now, from those 15 possible answers, the AI chooses one, the one more probable to fulfill your prompt, and returns it. So let's zoom out and see the full picture. This is the precision funnel. We started at 1,000 scattered directions. Persona brought it to 500, context to 250, task to 120, audience to 60, constraints to 30, format to 15. Each step doesn't just remove a little noise, it multiplies precision. This funnel is the mental model behind everything we're doing here. Once you internalize it, you'll write better prompts almost automatically. Now let's move from theory to practice. I'm going to show you what it looks like when you put all 6 steps together in one prompt. You'll see how each piece builds on the one before it. Here's the full prompt. Persona, AI consultant for startups. Context, educational content for founders. Task, 3 AI tools for customer support. Audience, non-technical founders. Constraints, 40 words per tool, no jargon. Format, name, what it does, use case. 6 lines. That's the whole thing. You can take this structure and fill in your own details for any prompt. Each line is simple on its own, but together they create a very focused request that leaves almost no room for the model to drift off track. Now here's something important. Even with a well-structured prompt, the first output is rarely perfect. Think of it as a first draft, not a final answer. The best results come from a loop. You prompt, you get output, you evaluate, you refine, and you go again until you are satisfied with the output response. Even experienced prompt engineers iterate. The difference is they iterate faster because they know what to look for. So don't settle for the first response. Treat it as a starting point. So when you get a response back, run it through 3 quick checks. First, is it accurate? Verify the facts and claims. Don't forget, AI does not think and returns only the most probable response, which might be wrong. Second, is it specific? Does it feel tailored to your situation, or could it apply to anyone? Third, is it on format? Did the model follow the structure you asked for? And this part is important. This evaluation step is done by you, not the AI. You are the quality gate. The model generates. You decide what stays and what needs to change. Now let's talk about iteration techniques, about how you could improve the returned response for your prompt a bit more. The first one is few-shot prompting. Instead of just describing what you want, you show the model one or more example of a good answer. Research shows that even a single example can improve accuracy by 15 to 40% on complex tasks. The model pattern matches your example and mirrors the style, making it more accurate for your request. Technique 2 is chain of thought. If you have a complex task, don't ask the model to do it all at once. Break it into steps. For example, step 1, identify common startup support problems. Step 2, suggest an AI tool for each. Step 3, provide a simple use case. When you give the model a step-by-step structure, it processes each stage sequentially, building on the previous one. This prevents it from skipping important reasoning, and the results are noticeably better. Technique 3 is self-reflection. After the model gives you a first response, you simply ask it to review its own work. For example, just write, review the answer and improve clarity and usefulness. The model will analyze what it wrote, identify weak spots, vague phrasing, missing information, messy structure, and produce an improved version. It's basically a built-in editing pass, and it costs you 1 extra line in the prompt. Technique 4 is something most people don't think of. You let the AI ask you clarifying questions before it answers. Just add this line to your prompt. Before answering, ask me up to 5 clarifying questions if anything is unclear. This turns the interaction into a conversation. The model identifies gaps in your instructions and asks you to fill them in. If you're not sure how much detail to include upfront, this is an excellent fallback. Let the model tell you what's missing. So that's the pattern. Start simple. You don't need a perfect prompt on the first try. Add structure using the 6 steps to narrow the funnel. Then iterate. Evaluate, refine, repeat. Prompting is not a one-shot skill. It's a loop, and the more you practice this loop, the faster you get to precise, useful output. Start using this simple framework today and see for yourself. I promise you, the results will feel like magic. If you found this useful, subscribe to the First Stack AI channel so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you there.